costume design and creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. So she's a serial fraudster. She's
I am today discussing the Boldoni and Blake Lively case. I have their documentation, all their court documents, ready to read and let you know what the up-to-date is on Boldoni's side. I've also put in about 10 paragraphs of the statement that Blake Lively said in her claim, and also details of Boldoni. I'm doing it in a sequence, so I'm starting off with Boldoni and then what Blake has said, so I can marry it both up. And we're doing it that way. So it's quite an artistic way of doing it, and it gives us a little bit of insight on the situation, what went ahead. It's very insightful. It teaches you how Hollywood works, how Hollywood is treated. It treats its production staff, how little is rewarded for good cause, how it's affected his outlook on the story. And I feel that Boldoni feels like it's been destroyed in some aspect. So I just wanted to start with Boldoni's introduction. Listen to this introduction. The following is not a story plaintiffs ever wish to tell. Unfortunately, defendant Blake Lively has unequivocally left them with no choice. Not only to set the record straight in response to Lively's accusations, but also to put on the spotlight the part of Hollywood that they have dedicated their careers and being the antithesis of. That task was always going to be an uphill battle. They never imagined they would encounter it to this degree. You should know your place. If you're an actress or an actor, do that. Don't insult someone's art. It's art at the end of the day. What you do as an actress is art, and what a director does is comply all that together, and all the imagery and everything with productions and things like that. And Blakely has no experience. Yeah, working in Gossip Girl isn't an experience, really. Stand there. She didn't. I'm not sure I've seen one film with her in, really. Had Lively chosen to merely ride out the self-inflicted press catastrophe she faced in August of 2024, the public would likely to have moved on and never known the truth about her. I found that pretty disgusting how this film was promoted, especially about a cause regarding domestic violence, and not bringing those issues into the speaking about it. You're not opening that Pandora's box. So what the hell are you doing a film related to that in the first place? You know, it's not good in good taste either, because mainly Blake has had a say over everything, and I can't imagine this man making this film be so bad. It is bad. I have watched it. It's awful. Had Lively chosen She robbed Boldoni and Wayfarer Studios of their movie. No one except the parties involved would have known that she used threats, extortion and relegate the colleagues she once highly praised to her basement to sit out their own premiere. Yeah, they all had to sit downstairs. Did you see that photo? This is it, you know, I mean, it's disgusting. His sister's there, his mother is there, and this bitch is walking around with a big Versace dress on, pretending like it's like a breezy florist film. And I can't think of nothing worse as a symbol of domestic violence as flowers. It's just tasteless, absolutely tasteless. It's just disgusted me. It really did from the start, I'll be honest. That's what got me interested, because I thought, what happened here? You know, you hear about films getting messed around with, you know, that you hear about, I mean, I'm an American History X fan. I can't remember his name, Tony. He got the same treatment of Edward Norton, and in the end he wanted his name taken off the film because he felt that he had too much control and it didn't express the characters in the story. And this is a little bit on that level. Racism, domestic abuse, it's a topic that is challenged, and if done wrong, I mean, American History X is an amazing film, but done wrong, you know, you affect the backlash, and the PR are responsible for that as well. While she enjoyed the spotlight of the premiere and after party that was ultimately co-financed by both Wayfarer and Sony. So she's not put fucking dime in this film. Not only cost £500,000, but done absolutely nothing but complain. She would have gotten away with those things and more because Boldoni focused entirely on seeing the film succeed. She would have held his tongue, as though the year and a half that Lively tormented him and his family and his partners. I can imagine she's rude to absolutely everyone, you know. But you know what? I might be wrong. I haven't seen her. All right, lovely. I'll be past her now. I'll look up her statements and see what she's saying so far. I like how his lawyer speaks to her as if like, you take as like a father type of thing. He says anyway, Lively could not tolerate her publicity tainted image for even a moment, and further could not accept that it was entirely of her own making. She needed a scapegoat, and rather than admit that and take accountability for her own mishaps, she chose to blame plaintiffs in a malice and unforgivably public manner. When she and Reynolds could not force Boldoni and Wayfarer to read a statement she and her representatives prepared, extorting them to take accountability in defence of Lively's actions. She lay in wait for months, which is sneaky really, isn't it? Let's be honest. She went to the premiere, she had all them things going on, you know, and then waited for the opportunity to, because her reputation was starting to look, because her personality shit, I'll be honest, she's got nothing. She's so empty inside. It's like, you know, you see her in an interview, she's so cocky and defensive. You think, do you know what? I'm surprised that she's been around for that long, and it's only because she's pretty, let's be honest. And she isn't even that hot, you know. She's very plain to me compared to, like, you know, someone with substance. She hasn't got a womanly substance about, no, like Rihanna's got something, like Scott Johansson's got something. I don't think she's got that something, do you know what I mean? Well, I don't like women, so I'm probably not the one to say, but anyway. Yeah. In defence of Lively's actions, she lay in waiting for months, preparing publicly to attack Boldoni by falsely claiming that he had sexually harassed her. The same falsified stories she had calculatingly devised and used throughout the production of the film in order to take control were now being used publicly to destroy Boldoni and the plaintiffs. Lively stole Wayfarer's movie, hijacked Wayfarer's premiere, destroyed plaintiff's personal and professional reputation and livelihood. He can't go back from that. He won't probably work in Hollywood again after this, which is really sad. But I'm sure he's too talented to, like, give a shit. Anyway. Lively worked for months with an equally powerful New York Times to prepare a false, damaging narrative to deploy against the plaintiffs. Not surprisingly, Lively prepared an administrative complaint with the Civil Rights Department in California, the CRD complaint, in an attempt to use the litigation privilege to shield her behind-the-scenes conspiracy with the New York Times. But upon information and belief, the CRD complaint was filed only after defendants spent months feeding falsehoods to the New York Times, intending that they be disseminated to damage plaintiffs. Lively delivered the CRD complaint to the plaintiffs over the Christmas holiday, and rather than promptly file a lawsuit, Lively, on information and belief, leaked the typically private CRD complaint to the public. Doesn't surprise me. Utilising the New York Times as conduit for her revenge. This CRD complaint, and upon information and belief, the false information delivered to the New York Times before the CRD complaint was filed. Okay. See, that's the thing. She's going around telling people that he's a creep before she even goes to a doctor, or well, we don't know that, do we? If she went to, she probably did. She probably got all that. She's smart. Well, Ryan Reynolds would probably have the power to give her strong advice like that. You know what I mean? But you know what? Your statements aren't worth shit unless you've seen a psychiatrist. I'm not going to lie. Lively intended to file a civil lawsuit which would have triggered plaintiff's right to discovery, including obtaining evidence and deposing Lively under oath. By the time Lively actually filed a lawsuit against the plaintiffs, the damage to plaintiffs was done by virtue of Lively's months of concluding with the New York Times on the false and malicious narrative, unshielded by any privilege. Make no mistake, these actions were deliberate. Plaintiffs now have no choice but to fight back, armed only with the truth and the mountain of concrete evidence disproving Lively's allegations. Heartbreakingly, a film that Boldoni envisaged years ago would honour the survivors of domestic violence victims by telling this story, with a lofty goal of making a positive impact in the world. Well, you did it, but I implore you. How did you get Lively? I'm not sure what that was about. You know, why did you feel Lively was the fitting partner, you know, for that? You know, she's got a reputation of being an arsehole, apparently. Making a positive impact on the world has now been overshadowed beyond recognition solely as a result of Lively's actions and cruelty. 6. Lively wields immense power as one of the world's best-known celebrities in 2024. She used that power to seize control of the film It Ends With Us. The film, produced and co-financed by the plaintiff Wayfarer and directed by Boldoni, who also portrayed the lead, Ryle. She set out to destroy plaintiffs' livelihoods and businesses if they did not bend to her incessant demands. And when they refused to give way, she did exactly that, using them of a foul and reprehensible sexual misconduct. Wayfarer was blindsided by Lively upon the conclusion of the industry strikes, refused to return to production, absent the companies agreeing to her non-negotiable protections of return to production. The return of production demands that are insinuated in misconduct and incurred during filming, which, as evidence will establish, did not. Wayfarer was equally blindsided by Lively, leveraged this document, essentially signed under duress, to seize control of the film, ultimately getting her own cut of the film and converted PGA mark, and at her command. Now this has to stop, because you're not going to get people working at a decent level. You're just no one's going to go and watch films and things like that. You're just controlling it with these lovies around. It's just not going to happen, is it? You know what I mean? Lively's exclusion of Boldoni from the promotion of the film backfired, as she chose to callously promote her hair care and alcoholic beverages products rather than bringing attention to survivors of domestic violence. The entire premise of the film, Boldoni now prohibited from attending events or taking photos with Lively and cast, promoted the film as he had always intended ever since he first began the process of the making of the film years ago. You know, when Lively faced a significant public backlash from what was often referred to as her tone-deaf and insensitive press tour of the film, she doubled down on her false, misleading accusations against Boldoni. She seemed determined to make Boldoni the real-life villain in her story. Her publicist, Leslie Sloan, went, and as Sloan in brackets, went so far as to propagate malicious stories portraying Boldoni as a sexual predator, a term Lively's husband, Reynolds, also used to describe Boldoni when he called Boldoni his agent. Modern society justly reveals sexual stories portrayed by Boldoni as a sexual predator. Sorry, am I reading that wrong? A term, yeah. Modern society revels sexual harassers and abusers. Lively knew full well that making those allegations would be a career death sentence for the plaintiff. Don't get the sauce, Isabella. Yeah. I'm making spaghetti bolognese for Izzy. My daughter's old enough to hear this, by the way. She's actually autistic, and she's talking a lot more now. And she loves movies, don't you, love? Hey. Oh, we got Monster High. I love that. Yeah. So I feel this lady has been like, oh, you know, because he is who he is. He's passionate. He wants the film to work. He wants to convey his feelings onto the camera. He wants to portray the villain very well, you know, and things of that nature. I don't think it came across in the film. It was too lovey-dovey for me, especially the black eye thing. It was, yeah. I mean, it was embarrassing to watch it, I'll be honest. And if that's the case, oh, well done, love. If that's the case, do you want me to stay? Or? If that's the case, I mean, she knew by saying, and my fear is right, she knew by saying all this, especially with the stuff over Jay-Z, being falsely accused and things like that. We know, we've got to watch what we say, you know? But we also know now these type of women that come along, you know, and I'm not just saying women, men too, you know what I mean? it just to me, right, it just seems like she was trying to take over his project, wanted the credit for it, and because he's such a friggin' nice person, he's went along with it, if you like, you know what I mean, and just for the piece of it. But it must have been very strange for the people involved, you know what I mean. It's a career death sentence for the plaintiffs, especially given Boldoni has lived his private and public life as an impassioned advocate for gender equality and healthy masculinity. I mean, he does come across that way. I mean, when you read I put that interview up, I wanted to put it up because it's an example of what he is. I'll be honest, he was bearing the soul. He wasn't talking about it, but he was bearing a soul, which was so hard to see because you knew exactly what this man's gone through. I'm not defending anyone. If he is a predator, then, I mean, fair enough, but I don't feel in any capacity that has been happening here. I'll flick through the complaint with Blake Lively and discuss a little bit with you. She attended a meeting about the conduct that was in the work environment. This was in January the 4th, and it doesn't give the year. It doesn't give the year. I don't know if it's the time when they were filming or what. That's not pretty clear. But these demands are pretty disgusting, So she said all that, right, that she didn't want. This meeting was an essential step in the process. Okay, I'm going to read this because it is a bit disturbing, I'll be honest. I don't know why she would have to say these things, No more showing nude videos or images of women, including producer's wife, to Blake Lively and her employees. No mention of Boldoni or Mr. Heath's previous porn addiction or BL's lack of pornography consumption to other crew members. No more discussions to Blake and her employees about personal experiences with sex including as it relates to spouses and others. But doesn't that relate to the story? You're talking about a relationship that happened, and you've got to sort of look at your own relationship, compare that, and think, well, what elements in my relationship do I have the power, and that type of thing. Well, I'm just saying that you would have to discuss those things, wouldn't you? I'm not sure. I'm not a director. I'm not into movies, by the way. I'm no solicitor, by the way. I've just worked in law and accounting, so totally different background. But it was done around the time of the COVID time. No more mention by Boldoni of him speaking to BL's dead father. That is so strange. I mean, what's wrong with talking to your parents when they've passed away? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with him saying that? What the fuck is wrong with this woman? No more pressing by Mr. Boldoni for BL to disclose her religious beliefs or unsolicited sharing of his. Okay, well that's one I do agree on. If BL and her infant is exposed to COVID again, BL must be provided with immediate notice as soon as Wayfarer or any other producers become aware to such exposure, without her needing to uncover days later after. An intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Blake Lively is on set in scenes with Boldoni. I just want to say she was pregnant in one of the interviews. When I was pregnant, I was pretty ratty. I don't know about anyone else. I was irritable. Everyone was tight on me, you know what I mean? And I felt like a flump, And you snap. So, but this is not just when she's like, I feel when she's tired and exhausted, her speech gets lower in etiquette. So I'm trying to figure out, is it something that she's just not capable of doing all this work and having 4 children? Is it a struggle for her? I'm not making excuses now. I'm saying this was around the big time when everyone was wearing masks. It was, people weren't themselves, they just weren't. And I feel what she should personally do is take back everything that she said, apologise and tell him that I was wrong, you know what I mean? But she won't do that. She's not going to do that. And that would probably remedy her if she said she had some kind of like, you know what I mean, some mental illness or something, or, you know, she was struggling with depression or what have you know what I mean? But what she's not doing is even looking at it in that way. She's saying he's a sexual predator, that's that. He's in touch with his femininity. There isn't anything wrong with that, Blake, you know. I find it sweet when men are like that, you know. I find it irritating as well, though. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie, you know, when men think they know how it feels to be in absolutely immense pain giving birth, they don't know. And just needs to keep their mouth shut. But he doesn't cross that line. Well, I don't know, but he doesn't seem like some kind of lech, you know, like Bill Cosby or friggin' the other one, you know. I don't understand why people are lifing people for just touching an ass, you know what I mean? It's just wrong. But, you know, the serious crimes out there being committed. BL to have a representative on set at all times and with monitor during scenes involving nudity, sexual activity or violence with Boldoni. So her representative could be witness to this then. Has a representative put a witness statement in yet? I doubt it. I doubt it because it didn't happen, you know. No more filming with any BL nudity without fully executed. SG complaint nudity radar in place. Any such footage readily shot without a rider in place, as if he gives a shit about your family, love. You know what I mean? Any scene of BL or ever another performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity or simulated sex must be conducted strictly in accordance with the above referenced nudity rider and must be adhered to BL's approved script. An intimacy coordinator must be on set for all scenes involving nudity and or simulated sex and must have a monitor to ensure compliance. I mean, she's a brilliant actress. She looks like she's lapping it up when he's all over her like that. I mean, I would. I mean, Jesus, married or not, I would take it. No. I'm only saying flirting's one thing, you know, committing adultery is another, isn't it? And I mean, this is the thing about being an actress. She's got to learn to be intimate with people. And if she can't be intimate with people, that is going to be a problem, full stop. Because she's a beautiful woman, right? And a lot of her stories will be rom-coms. She ain't good actress. I've never seen her in a thriller. I've never seen her be anything but Blake Lively, you know what I mean? I might have seen her in one film. I thought, yeah, but she had a good part. You know what I mean? She did. She had a good part. But no more private multi-hour meetings in BL trailer with Boldoni crying with no outside BL appointed representative or monitor. Oh, well, why was he crying? That's upsetting. Why would a man be crying in front of you like that? I mean, what's triggered that? Did you have some deep conversation with him? Maybe you crossed the line. Maybe you made him cry. Engagements of an experienced producer or to supervise the safety of the cast and crew schedule, like he's some kind of lech. Oh my word. Engagements of BL approved A-list stunt double for Lily and scenes. No more adding sex scenes, oral or camera climaxing of BL outside the scope of the script BL approved when she signed onto the project. No more asking or pressuring BL to cross physical picket lines. No more retaliatory or abusive behaviour to BL for raising concerns or requesting safeguards. 30. in-person meeting before production resumes with Boldoni, Mr. Heath and Mrs. Sachs, the Sony representative, the new producer BL and PL spouse Ryan Reynolds, to confirm and approve the plan for an implementation of the above that will be adhere to for a physical and emotional safety of BL, her employees and all cast and crew. Fuck off. This meeting was an essential step in the process the parties had agreed several months before to allow the cast and crew to safely resume production of the film. In November 2023, the parties had agreed in writing to implement a list of protections enumerated in contract entitled Protections for Return to Production. I mean, this is November 2023. You know, this is like 2 years after the film, basically. It's like she was trying to get it in there, you know what I mean? Attached here to Exhibit A, which included 17 provisions designed to require Ferreira to cease the on-set behaviour of Boldoni and Heath. One of those provisions required an all-hands meeting to confirm and approve a plan for implementation of certain protections that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Miss Lively. Her employees and all cast and crew are moving forward. After receiving the document, Wayfair responded that Wayfair and Sony Production, respectively, acknowledge that Mrs. Lively has concerns regarding safety and professionalism in the workplace and culture. Although our perspective differs in many aspects, during the safe environment for all is paramount, irrespective of the differing viewpoints regarding your outlined requests. We find most of them not only reasonable but also essential for the benefit of all parties inclusive involved. At the end of January 4th meeting, having discussed the length, so it took 3 months to get to this point. So this is 2004 now, this January 4th with the meeting. And these concerns come up in the meeting, yeah? Having discussed at length and details of the concerns that had been expressed by Mrs. Lively and others, the parties agreed to implement and follow the production for return to production to ensure that the film could be completed, marketed and released safely and successfully, and it was. Production of the film resumed on the 5th of January and concluded on February 9th, 2024. The film has been a resounding success. Not really, love. You've ruined it for him. You've absolute cake. You know what I mean? You sponge brain bitch, you know. Leading up to in connection with the release of the film during the summer of 2024, Mrs. Lively and fellow cast members promoted the film in accordance with the marketing plan created and delivered by the film distributor Sony, which is summarised in the talking points attached hereto as Exhibit C. Mrs. Lively and other cast members were under contractual obligation to engage in media, press, marketing and activities and render promotional services in accordance with the marketing plan. The marketing plan directed the cast to focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence, and to avoid talking about the film that makes it feel sad, heavy. It's a story of hope. You kidding me? Till the next black eye, mate. Yeah? You have no... Just Jesus Christ. Just want to mention what she mentions on her in number 8. What the public also did not know was that this was the beginning of a multi-tiered plan by Mr. Boldoni and his team described as social manipulation. Gives you an idea what goes on in Hollywood. Designed to destroy Mrs. Lively's reputation. That plan was backed by virtually unlimited resources. Listen, his film. You destroyed his film. You know, it's funny how she uses that word, isn't it? That plan was backed by virtually unlimited resources. Wayfarer's co-founder, co-chairman and leading financier is a multi-billionaire Steve Sowitz, who divulged in the film's New York premiere on August 6th of 2024 that he was prepared to spend $10 million to ruin the lives of Mrs. Lively and her family. So this all happened before she put a statement in, you know, because she put these rules forward, what she wanted, which was really aftermath, really, wasn't it? It was accrued afterwards, you know what I mean? She did these things afterwards, sort of thing, in reaction to him not tolerating it. With that backing, Mr. Boldoni and Wayfarer Associates embarked on a sophisticated press and digital plan in retaliation for Mrs. Lively exercising her legal protected right to speak up about their misconduct on set. Well, then he's free to speak, isn't he? With the objective of intimidating her and anyone else from revealing in public what actually occurred. On July 31st of 2024, following the recommendation of their publicist Jennifer Abel, so it's just someone with the same name, Wayfarer and Mr. Boldoni retained a crisis communication specialist named Melissa Nathan and their company, the agency group PR LLC, TAG. Miss Nathan delivered a proposal to Boldoni which included a website to discuss, full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything, engage with audience in the right way, start threads of theories, discuss, this is the why. To be fully 100% protected, Mrs. Nathan also proposed the creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change narrative and stay on track. Per Mrs. Nathan, all of this will be most importantly untraceable, she says. Mrs. Nathan. How does she come across this information about what she said? Did she say in front of her? Was the witnesses there? Was the other people there? There's no mention of that. Or, as Mrs. Abel described it, the plan was to engage in public media mitigation and proactive fan posting to encounter the negative, as well as the social manipulation. 3. Miss Lively obtained communication set forth in this complaint, though legal process, including a civil subpoena served by Jones Works LLC. This plan went well beyond the standard of crisis PR. What Mrs. Nathan proposed included a practice known as astroturfing. We'll explain what that is in this, which has been defined as practice of publishing opinions and comments on the internet, in the media, etc. Also, it's to change and manipulate a narrative. It's lying, basically. It's you know what, right? There's a lot of productions out there who do these, you know, where they have like 100 followers, a million followers and things like that. These things are from publicists, PR. The PR paid, most of them. They really are. And you notice because they don't speak about certain people, because that's in their contract not to, probably. And you can tell what you want about the opposite to change a person's change a person's mind about something. And I don't like to jump on the bandwagon. I like to read everything and then make a decision. Now, I did with the Johnny Depp case, and I came to the conclusion he was an abusive man. Now, many people might not agree on that, but yeah, you know, I seen the photo of that mark on her face. That was enough for me. And I'm not being funny enough, and he always had a temper, always,
you know. I find it very difficult that people don't know that, you know. It's like, wow, please, seriously. Yeah, so explained astroturfing. On the 2nd of August 2024, TAG circulated a scenario planning document to Boldoni and Mr. Heath and others. Really good with the PR, aren't they? I never thought of all this stuff. This is what happens, you see. You've got to have your own thoughts, you've got to have your own opinions, you've got to like watch things like this with the actual documents on, so you know for yourself and you're not believing these red pill swallowing nutters. But she has got a reputation, this lady, you know, for being a bitch. So it seems like she gave us good shot with the whole sexual thing as well. Like, you know, when you see it now, you know, when you see the text, it'd be like that. I have read this before, by the way. So Miss Nathan plans to propose strategies to advance misleading counter-narratives, including pushing Mrs. Nathan's narrative that Mrs. Lively had less than favourable reputation, proposing to explore planting stories about weaponisation of feminism, and misleadingly blaming Miss Lively for production members' job losses. Or maybe she did. I mean, that's terrible. She has got a few people thrown out for just looking at her. And she seems that astroturfing, the Cambridge Dictionary describes as: astroturfing is the deception practice of hiding the sponsors of an orchestrated message or organisation. Example, political, advertising, religious or public relations. To make it appear as though it originates from and is supported by unsolicited grassroots participants. You know, a bit like Jaguar, right? It is practice intended to give the statements or organisations credibility by withholding information about the source's financial backers. Yeah, well, if he's got a lot of financial backing, you know, it could be, you know, I mean, we're going to read through and we're going to like make our own minds up in the end, so, you know. Initially, Mr. Boldoni expressed concerns that TAG's written plan and insufficiently aggressive to protect him. Writing to Mr. Heath and Mrs. Abel, he said he was in love with the document they sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call with Mrs. Nathan and her colleagues. No, she's just being nice to you, sweetheart. I mean, that's what people do, isn't it? And then they go and say whatever behind your back because you're a nasty piece of work. I'm just getting something out there. Just getting some dinosaurs out of the fridge. Yeah. And it's going to go through all this, and it is going to be, it's a long document, 86 pages. You can look for yourselves. You can look for yourselves, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, there's no proof either side, and I would firmly suggest that they just both walk away. You know what I mean? Stop arguing about this because, I mean, listen, she needs to settle with him and move on, yeah, and learn by this that you can't treat people like that, especially if you're not like someone like Brad Pitt or, you know, a real friggin' film movie star, yeah. She is new in the game. She's got no balls in the game either. She's like, only what? She's younger than me, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, what's the matter with this woman? She can't be nice to anyone. Have you noticed? It's very, very hostile. Every frigging thing of it. Now, I'm not sure if that's media that they've put out there. Now, you never know about that unless you read the documentation and try and find evidence in it, you know, because a lot of these cases, there isn't any substantial facts stating that it's abuse, you know. At the end of the day, it's just trying to do a film, trying to get by doing what he needs to
Just walk in, get treated, walk out. That feels better.
This text reads,
For life.
Justin Boldoni, morning. Not in love with the documents they sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call.
Just use PayPal to pool money together.
He sounds vulnerable, doesn't he?
Then we'll get a 5-tier cake.
I don't know who this is replying as this here. This is the first time I've personally gone through scenario planning with them. So I think let's them discuss the thinking behind the documents and actually process the protocol of how they implement these things. That's the most important part of this, is how quickly they can shove things down and play stories in your favour. Be honest in this call and let's give real feedback to each other. Yeah, just feels very much like there's much defence, and also them feeling strong, like she's going to do something just a bit concerning what everyone had originally thought. So have they changed their mind on their opinions about the situation? Did they talk it through with Boldoni and his team and realise that it's absolutely bonkers? Or, I'll be honest, the most pretentious film I've ever seen. It is. It's pants. And that might not be down to Boldoni, and I feel for that man for that reason. As an artist who paints, it's like someone coming in and going, well, you know what? I just fancy putting it all blue. I don't like the colour. What colours? What you do? I don't like how you put loads of colour on your palette, on your canvas. I want to paint, and they paint a stickman. You know what I mean? And you're left with like the shit to go, oh, this is a wonderful piece of work, you know. You're left with, that's what he didn't want to do. And she didn't like that. Because she'd edited everything out by what I've catched on with Canva. Sorry, Canvas. Right, Canvas, I keep saying that now. Later that day, Miss Sable and Mrs. Nathan exchanged the following text messages, expressing that Mr. Boldoni wants to feel like Mrs. Lively can be buried. Miss Sable and Mrs. Nathan, my daughter's laughing at the story. Mrs. Nathan agreed that, of course, they would do just that, but could not say so in writing. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. Imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. The film was a hotly anticipated adaptation of the worldwide best-selling book by Colleen Hoover, and by starring in it as Lily. Lively stood to enhance her already considerable star power, but she was not content merely to headline one of the year's biggest films. Instead, apparently driven by overweening ambition and a need for control, Lively eventually leveraged her power as a wealthy celebrity to wrest the reins from her co-star and the film's director Boldoni, insisting on total control over every aspect of the film she could get her hands on, from the wardrobe to marketing strategy of music. I'm just going to read this footnote. In the early meeting with Boldoni, Lively foreshadowed what was to come, stating, "I'm afraid you have too much power," referencing Boldoni's dual role as producer and director. This statement made an early impact on Boldoni, who felt compelled to reassure her the relationship would be collaborative and went above and beyond to make it so. This is not an invitation to sideline him and his producing partners to marketing strategy to wardrobe, even creating her own cut of the film. Not only did Lively power play cost numerous people their jobs, but at every turn her wrong-headed creative decisions reflected her fundamental lack of understanding of the book the film was based on. This came as no surprise to her worry colleagues, given that even well into the production, Lively had not even read the book. Oh my God, you're joking me. September, I heard that, but I didn't believe it. September 14th of 2023, message from Boldoni to Heath. That we are rooting to see her fulfill. After rereading the book, which had 150 pages to build their relationship, we have combined scenes to heighten the stakes for Ryle in pursuit of Lily, utilising humour and his desire to sleep with her. While I understand Blake's reasons for not wanting to read the book does a very good job of getting in Lily's mind during the interaction with Ryle and setting up the why behind her attraction to him, which ultimately helps us understand why she stays in the end. So that was totally missing from the scene. I was absolutely baffled by it, I'll be honest. I might do like a watch it and react with it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed films on YouTube though, but I'd do it, if I can get away with it. Number 10, Lively's disastrous marketing efforts and tone-deaf press interviews and appearances backfired and led to widespread criticism of Lively's promotional approach to the film, highly sensitive focus on DV. Past videos of Lively resurfaced online, videos that appeared to solidify the public perception that Lively was an insensitive, mean girl who cared more about pending her products than acknowledging the domestic violence survivor community. Yeah. It's true. It's sick. The social media commentators quickly pointed out that her tie-in of her alcohol beverages was particularly poor taste, given the World Health Organization estimates that 55%, oh my God, of domestic violence incidents, are linked to alcohol. Yeah, I can believe that. I can. And it's very bad taste. Oh, that's worse than flowers when I've come to think of it. Oh my God, she hasn't a clue. Unbelievably, Blake made these harmful, irresponsible messages worse by naming a drink at her premiere after party. Ryle, you wait. She named a drink, Ryle, you wait. After the character who committed domestic violence in the film. The suggestion that Wayfarer caused the online backlash against her is absurd, given the evidence of her own insensitivity. 2 on the footnote. Lively later claims she read the book, but text evidence shows that well into production she had not. And that is her fault. That's her undoing. If you're going to do a serious subject like that, read the fucking book. Sorry for swearing. And in fact, expressed that she had chosen not to read the book, Why? Because she's so superior that she knows what the audience is going to know, you know. She even tried to Google the colour of her character's hair rather than pick up the book. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. 11. Sadly, this backlash could have been avoided had she not refused to meet with the film domestic violence partner organisation nomore.org. Oh, so he has got an organisation attached to it. That's terrible. That's no good. That means that charity probably took less than what it deserved from this film, you know. Has she no self-respect? Do you know what she should do to show that she actually is sorry? Is donate the money to this charity. It's not bad. No. I'm trying to think of ways that she can make up for this, because the thing is, it is an important topic of discussion. I think DV is a very complicated topic. I don't think it's a good film topic. I don't know what he was thinking, but okay, ride with it. But she should have known going for this film that to some degree, unless she's been through that situation, she's got to read it. Actually, even if she's gone through it, she still has to know the story, doesn't she? It's like, how the hell, you know what I mean? Actually, it's like me not reading 50 Shades of Grey and then thinking it's all about different colours of grey. You know what I mean? It's like, yay, let's go on with it. You know, stupid, is he really? I don't know what I mean by that, but yeah. Also, I'm so sorry. I'm dead loud today. I'm in the kitchen because my daughter is a slave driver. She's a bit like Blake Lively. 14 soon. Meanwhile, Boldoni, who Lively herself had ensured, and excluded from participating in her marketing efforts, was safeguarded from. She's disgusting and nasty.
Don't give them what they're looking for, have some restraint. That's what she's saying. She isn't saying have some restraint. She's saying for the scene, restrain the kissing scene and things of that nature.
I'm trying, sorry, I've lost my place. Safeguarding on. Why the hell's that gone?
All the mixed messages.
Okay.
It's bizarre. Is it about how can you display something like that? Yeah, it's very complicated domestic violence, but she seems very glamorous. I can't remember these type of shoes as well in 19.
Sadly, the backlash could have been avoided had she not refused to meet with the film's domestic violence organisation. So she refused to meet with this organisation too. Oh my God. And he offered even brief visits. The website Simple Online Search would have readily uncovered this and other information on the topic of the violence.
He's not slobbering all over her. He's not doing anything like that. I mean,
sorry.
Listen to what she's saying about him. He's not in any way being.
I'm going to read that again because I've no idea where it's gone.
I don't really like it.
Meanwhile, Boldoni, whom Lively herself had ensured was excluded from participating in the marketing efforts, was safeguarded from this backlash as he focused on amplifying the voices of those affected by DV. As originally intended, then he reached out to the author Colleen Hoover 5 years earlier and documented by his partnership with the nomore.org dating back to 2022. Boldoni's sincere efforts were well received. even more so that in contrast with Lively's campaign to downplay the premise of the film and sell hair care and alcohol products. Lively, enraged that her plans were foiled and armed with proof of alleged sexual harassment in the form of a 17-point list of demands that she required the plaintiff to sign just months earlier, focused her rage on Boldoni, blaming him for the consequences of her missteps. Meanwhile, Stephanie Jones, founder of Jones Works and LLC, Wayfarers and Boldoni's erstwhile PR firm, was embroiled in a personal and professional crisis. Her increasingly erratic behaviour and driven away not only high-profile clients, but also her right-hand woman, plaintiff Jennifer Abel. Abel, who oversaw the Jones Works Los Angeles office. So she had all the right people on the right side. She had a lot of organisations helping with this. He's a lot about PR and things by the sounds of it as well. So she's picked on the wrong man. Jones' behaviour grew more and more bizarre as she lashed out at loyal clients like Wayfarer and rage-filled rants, and veered away from the professional experience and strategy when making critical decisions affecting Jones' work clients. After a final outburst against Wayfarer, in which she outright refused to comply with their direct instructions, Wayfarer had no choice but to cut ties with Jones and Jones' work rather than leave their public image in the hands of what appeared to be an out-of-control Jones, whose actions were not aligned with Wayfarer and Boldoni's worldview and wishes. Jones was filled with impotent rage at Wayfarer and at Abel, who a month before had announced her decision to leave Jones Works to form her own company. Jones saw an opportunity for revenge and she took it. On information and belief, Jones and Lively and Reynolds and Leslie Sloan, Lively's publicist and others, concocted a plan whereby Jones would seize Abel's phone upon her departure and mine it for messages that, stripped the context, could be used to concoct a false narrative that the disastrous press coverage of Lively's callous and opportunistic comments and the public's reaction to those comments were not Lively's fault at all, but the result of a calculated, though in reality non-existent, smear campaign by Boldoni and his team. But it was due to her behaviour that she got that, you know what I mean?
All them rules, remember? Right? She only had that meeting 2 days before that premiere. So, she put all the... But they had to listen it out.
On information and belief, Jones' role in the scene accounts for her conspicuous absence from Lively's retelling of the events. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that defendants have been working in concert since at least August 21st, 2024, when Sloan boasted to Nathan that she had seen her texts and that Nathan would soon be sued. Though Lively claimed Boldoni was the one smearing her, in reality, is that it was Lively and her team who carefully planned and implemented a vile smear campaign against Boldoni and Wayfarer to deflect attention and blame for Lively's disastrous misjudgments. Lively would recast herself as a long-suffering martyr, oh my God, by portraying Boldoni and Wayfarer as her persecutors. The mastermind behind a smear campaign that evidence will show did not exist. Defendant Sloan of Vision PR was all too willing to carry out this strategy, especially once armed with the ammunition by Jones, who was bent on revenge against her ex-employee and former clients. I see. While it is not entirely uncommon to request that an existing employee retain company property, it is often the case that personal phones and phone numbers and communications are seized, made public and weaponized against the employee and the company's own clients. So she's got that phone, but she's also got information on other people's clients, which is terrible, really. She shouldn't be having that. How's she got her hands on that?
Yeah, I can't understand where she's got that impression,
In part, and read up to 20 or finish the intro off for today. But please subscribe, like my channel, and please help me with the algorithm because nobody seems to be supporting me. I know I understand that people are busy and all that, but you know what? Press that like button because I don't get any attention, and please love me. I'm wonderful. I'm always putting facts up for us to digest, to understand. I give unbiased opinion, and also we can discuss in the comments what you feel Lively should be doing or should do to repair the damage that she's done. I think people should pay for what they've done if they've done something wrong, So anyway, shortly after the film's premiere and public backlash against Lively, just going to cut my daughter's toast, hang on, love. Lively, together with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, demanded through their talent agency, which also represented Wayfarer and Boldoni, that plaintiff publicly apologises for so-called mistakes during the production in order to deflect the avalanche of negative media coverage of Lively. Reynolds, he's a bully. He really is. I mean, who does that? Who does he think he is? Seriously? Do you know how he got started? Was like peering in like Sabrina, the Teenage Witch movie. I never knew that. I mean, I always thought he was a bit of a lame actor, to be fair. I have never seen a film. I've never seen Deadpool. Nah, no time for him. Especially after the whole Scarlett Johansson. Because I love Scarlett Johansson. She's a good actress and works hard, yeah. She's not this type of woman. He did wrong by marrying this psych bitch. But he's just as bad, isn't he? Demanded through their talent agency, which also represented them, the plaintiffs apologised for their mistakes,
Reynolds and Lively drafted a statement and demanded Boldoni, Wayfarer and Heath issue that statement, requiring them to apologise. And that's the thing, you see, once you apologise for something, even though you may not mean it, it sounds wrong, doesn't it? It does. But because of the situation, I would feel the same. This is not a normal, this is not your usual type of film, is it? You're comfy there, love. It's what he wanted was to bring awareness and to bring how clarity works and how, I'll be honest, how common domestic violence really is, you know, unfortunately. And I don't mean just women, I mean everyone, you know, it can happen to men and women, you know. Okay, right, so he issued that statement requiring them, demanded Boldoni, Wayfarer and Heath issue that statement requiring them to apologise to the public and fall on their sword, despite having done nothing wrong, or else the gloves would come off. Multiple WME executives acknowledged that, in their experience, Lively and Reynolds' threats were not to be taken lightly. Though admitting to false, vague, unspecified mistakes would be tantamount to admitting to career-ending misconduct. Boldoni, Wayfarer and Heath refused to apologise for sins they had never committed. They took a stand, knowing full well that Lively and Reynolds would bring the full might of their celebrity artillery against them, and that is precisely what happened. Lively, working with her husband, her publicist and Jones, among others, set out on a campaign to tar and feather the plaintiffs in the press. They conspired and worked in concert with the New York Times to put out a blockbuster news report as devastating as it was false. They advanced a fabricated narrative, and I'm surprised that the New York Times, this is the paper who published the Epstein, you know, so I'm very shocked, you know, you know what I mean, that they would do that without any fucking evidence, you know. It's the time. Times need to change. Times need to change. And people need to accept when they drug and alcohol addicts and they make mistakes, like violent mistakes, to admit them, not try to pass them off as other people with problems. This lady is verbally abusive, threatening and cruel. She's just cruel. She's cost people their jobs they work damn hard for. And she is a Nepo baby, I believe, as well. You know, she didn't even want to get into this. They advanced a fabricated narrative in the press that plaintiffs had sexually harassed Lively, then embarked on a calculated malicious smear campaign to destroy her reputation. I think that's meant to be his. As retaliation for daring to complain about the harassment. Defendants laid their trap carefully over a period of months before springing it all at once on the eve of the winter holidays. Very convenient. Just as plainly, they knew full well that their claims were entirely baseless because their own wrongfully obtained evidence proved that neither the alleged harassment nor accompanying smear campaign against Lively ever existed. Yet Lively moved forward with their plan with ruthless precision, doubling down in the face of abundant evidence, casting doubt on the veracity of her story. Lively even so far as to serve her lawsuit in Los Angeles-based defendants as they evacuated their homes in the midst of the devastating fires engulfing their city on a day when defendants were gathering their kids and pets and preparing go bags and monitoring evacuation orders while fearing for their homes. Lively, from the safety of her penthouse in New York, deployed process servers in the midst of these troubling times. She's a scumbag. 18. At bottom, this is not a case about celebrities sniping at each other in the press. This is a case about two of the most powerful stars in the world deploying their enormous power to steal an entire film right out of the hands of its director and production studio. Then, when Lively and Reynolds' efforts failed to win them the acclaim they believed they so richly deserved, they turned their fury on their chosen scapegoat, tolerating a year and a half of their behaviour while remaining polite and professional at every turn, offered Boldoni and Wayfarer no protection. That's all they could have done, though. You know, how would you get her out of that? How would you get her out of the film after that? I don't know. By bringing this complaint, plaintiffs commit themselves to seeking and proving the facts, based not on the insinuations built from selectively edited and context-free text snippets, but by putting all the evidence before the court and the public. When plaintiffs have their day in court, the jury will recognise that even the most powerful celebrity cannot bend the truth to her will. A. Boldoni and Wayfarer purchase rights to It Ends With Us. 20. Boldoni co-founded Wayfarer in 2019. From the beginning, Wayfarer was dedicated to being a different kind of studio. One that produced world-class entertainment driven by power and vision for change. 21. Boldoni, whose film career was dedicated to producing and directing meaningful films to have a positive impact in the world, was deeply moved when he read the book It Ends With Us, and genuinely believed he could make a film that could save lives. Too much this. His last two films, I have a feeling I've seen his type of films before. He does like them type of short. I've seen a short film he's done. Anyway, they were created as a result of deep sense of responsibility to share meaningful stories. Boldoni's feature film's directorial debut of 5 Feet Apart was based on a young woman, Claire Wineland, who lived with cystic fibrosis. Oh no. And the courageously documented. See, he tackles subjects that are delicate, and he knows how sensitive a woman can be. He's not stupid. He knows the right things to say and the wrong things he doesn't say, you know. I mean, nothing on that list, what she was requesting, sounded normal, but at the same time, it didn't sound like a big thing to ask if, like, about, okay, yeah, you talk about your relationships in films as well. I'd imagine that she would have had to be intimate with him in a sense. So, you know, why did she carry on then if she felt like that? I mean, don't make any sense, does it? Sorry, I was saying about Claire Wineland, who lived with cystic fibrosis and courageously documented her plight on YouTube. Boldoni, before Claire passed away, Boldoni promised he would tell her story. Oh, and he did just that. In the film he directed. The film had wide impact on the cystic fibrosis community, and Boldoni still receives messages about the film's impact. That is beautiful. Boldoni also supports her foundation yearly and remained close to Claire's parents, even bringing her father and his guests to the premiere of It Ends With Us. Oh gosh, they must have been fuming that, like, this woman's behaving like that. Imagine treating this man with anything but respect. He seems very respectful. He just does not seem an asshole. You know, it's the rare type of fella, you know, in touch with his masculinity, isn't afraid of getting in touch with his femininity. You know, the up-to-date man we need today, isn't he? You know. Boldoni's more recent film was the Wayfarer film Clouds, a true story about a teenager with cancer, who finds joyful purpose and inspiration in music. In pursuit of the same vision, in 2019, Wayfarer acquired the film rights to Ends With Us, a Colleen Hoover novel published in 2016. Though positioned as a romance novel, really? The book explores themes of the DV and generally, oh gosh, my eyes are gone. Hang on. Violence and generational patterns of abuse. And these messages resonated deeply with the readers and drew a passionate fan base. In 2021, the novel exploded in popularity thanks to the social media phenomenon BookTok. Many fans expressed how important the book was to them as survivors of domestic violence and intimate partner abuse. I don't know what the difference is. When It Ends With Us, author Colleen Hoover watched 5 Feet Apart in theatres. She told Boldoni, "You are the right person to make this movie," referring to It Ends With Us. I reckon he should just remake it. I know it sounds like a pain in the ass, but remake the whole film. Take it out. Do them scenes again. Do it how he wanted. Taking her scenes, I won't make it different. You can tell it doesn't make any sense in the sense of the film. I don't think it's been received very well either. You know, I don't think it's just me who thinks like that. It's just not. Yeah. Maybe it's because of Lively's input that she manipulates a little guy. Boldoni's early emails to Hoover demonstrate his commitment to doing so in a manner he envisioned would be most impactful. In fact, it was Hoover who suggested Boldoni betray Ryle. And he gives the email to prove this now. Yeah, I'll read it out here. "Hello, Colleen. Thank you for the intro. Wow, it's such a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for being open and having potential option your book. Some quick backstory. My purpose and intention is this insane business are simple. Create impact by making content that helps us remember our sharing humanity. Content that asks us to be better, to make the hard choice in the moment that one day on our deathbeds we will be grateful for. It's been a tough road, but an incredible one, as our industry doesn't offer reward those of us trying to change culture. Luckily, it's the messages of those that which the content that it's always are the reward and the lives we have affected. I've always believed the financial reward will come, but it's not a primary motivation. As Joanna may have told you, I'm building and got funding for a company whose mission is to tell high-end meaning stories. All right, okay. And I just finished my first film with my second setup at Warner Brothers going this fall, based on this short doc I directed 7 years ago. Also, if you would like to see an early screening of 5 Feet Apart, I'm sure I could make that happen. And that's what he wrote. I can't read all that. Well, she wrote back to him anyway. Okay, and this is on the 2019, the 11th of April. I'm finally coming up for air from the release of the film, but still shooting Jane for another 2 weeks. By the way, were you able to see it? Would love to know your thoughts. We actually started filming the final episode today. Crazy, so grateful. So I haven't been able to get It Ends With Us off my mind. Such an important story. So damn romantic and beautiful and tragic and hopeful. I always say that both in the art and life, all the best stories are always two things at once. And this is so much what your book is. Joy and pain. Your book. This is from... Oh, he wrote this to her. That's very confusing for me. I am sorry, guys. I didn't mean like that. Well, anyway, this is I'll read this next time, guys, okay? I've got a cat that's extra hungry today. So, shush you. Shush. Shut up. Well, guys, that's me for today. And I'm going to carry on tomorrow, going through this and see more details on the case. This was filed on the 16th of the 1st during the wildfires. I mean, she gave this man no bloody choice, really, did she, you know, but to go against her, and it's really backfired on her. You know, I find it really disgusting that a film like this, and a particular person he is, she couldn't find it in her heart to try and get on with the guy. It just shows you how incredibly self-important she is, you know. Full of it, isn't it? It's so disturbing. But I've got to say, she's getting a lot of attention, negative attention. Yeah. Negative attention, so it's not working in her favour at all. And I feel that we'll see less of her now from now on. I just hope we see less of Ryan Reynolds, if I'm going to be fair, right? I just don't like him. I don't know what it is. It's his face. It's his eyeballs, his beady eyes, man. Hamster eyes. Anyway, guys, please subscribe, like, and God bless you all. And have a beautiful week. I love you loads. Bye-bye. Mwah.